Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. The EU's executive branch believes economic growth across the Union will remain robust this year and next. According to the European Commission's spring economic forecast for 2018, Croatia's economy is expected to remain at 2.8%. Personal spending and investments will continue to be the chief economic drivers, while agriculture still poses a risk. Meanwhile, the Commission expects Croatia's GDP growth to slow to 2.7% in 2019.
Firstly, I'd like to confirm that in 2017, our collective economic growth of 2.4% was the best it has been in 10 years. Positive growth was recorded in all member states, and that is excellent news. The economies of the European Union and the Eurozone should continue to grow at a sustainable rate of 2.3% this year and 2% in 2019. This fits in line with our forecasts. I not only believe in our continued economic recovery, but in our well-rounded growth.
Prime Minister Andrej Plenković and Finance Minister Zdravko Marić welcomed the latest news from the European Commission.
What's great is that their numbers are exactly in line with our own prognosis, growth of 2.8 and 2.7%. It is obvious that the Commission is aware of our significant progress, as well as our fiscal discipline, our continued growth, and our efforts to lower our public debt. In some ways, they are even more optimistic than we are. That's a growth rate that is realistic for Croatia right now. It is based on real indicators, but we have to lean towards getting those growth rates up even higher. They will generate new and better quality jobs and raise the standard of living for our citizens.
According to Eurostat, during the month of March, the unemployment rate in the European Union was the lowest in nearly a decade. Croatia ranked among the countries with the largest drop in unemployment compared to the same month last year. The Czech Republic led the way with a 2.2% unemployment rate, while Greece was at the bottom of the EU with nearly 21% unemployment. A draft law on cybersecurity has received the support of all parties in Parliament. Due to an increase in cyber attacks on Croatian state institutions, MPs were quick to underline the importance of bolstering cybersecurity.
There is currently no other field like this in the world. This is such a complex issue that it literally involves every aspect of private and business life. At the same time, this is also the most fragile field in the world because any random person can hack into the national security apparatus of any given country or institution at any time.
The hastened process of digitalizing industry and government services, including e-citizen, could lead to serious consequences for everyone in Croatia if the system crashes. If these areas are not properly monitored by the responsible security institutions, as dictated by this directive, this document will merely be nice words on paper, while real security will continue to elude us.
The Parliamentary Committee on Croats Outside Croatia unanimously accepted the new draft law on the Croatian Heritage Foundation. The committee, along with the Central State Office for Croats Abroad, both dedicated over 30% more funds from last year's budget to programs supporting Croatians living outside Croatia.
Our task is to take advantage of the great economic and intellectual potential of the Croatian diaspora community and use it for the benefit of Croatia and those living in diaspora communities. On the other hand, modern communication methods have turned the world into a global village. This gives us the ability to interact with the Croatian homeland even when we are not physically there.
May 3rd is World Press Freedom Day, a day that is meant to raise awareness of the importance of a free press and remind governments of their duty to protect free speech and access to correct information. Meanwhile, the Croatian Journalists Association criticized the state of journalism in Croatia, saying it's rife with problems.
Generally speaking, the state of our media over the past decade has evolved to the point where certain aspects of the media, whose job it is to serve the public interest, have changed from being the fourth estate into something completely different. Journalism, now in the hands of private media corporations, has rapidly transformed into a platform for the advertising and public relations industries.
Educational experts from several countries were on hand to observe preparations for the implementation of Croatia's experimental curricular reforms. The consensus from the experts was that teachers were excited for the upcoming changes.
I've now visited, I think, maybe 5 or 6 different schools in Croatia, and I think I've been quite positively surprised. There are a number of teachers that use new innovative methods in teaching and learning, so I think it's good, and we're very happy to support the curriculum reform that's happening in Croatia.
They have suggested that we work more intensively with teachers and schools to develop a positive atmosphere and support everyone within the entire education system.
Fire chiefs from around the country gathered in Lika for a plenary session of the Croatian Firefighting Association. Awards were given out for outstanding achievements in 2017 and for lifelong dedication to firefighting.
Through your selflessness and dedication, which often exceeds the limits of human capabilities, we succeeded in defending Croatia. I saw this firsthand last year when I was on the ground with you. You truly are Croatian heroes in times of peace. The government has and always will have respect for our firefighters, both professional and volunteer, and the work you do in protecting people and property. And this goes not only for fighting fires, but your efforts in all other dangerous situations as well. With your help, these situations would be nearly impossible to confront.
2020 is set to be an important year for Croatia, when the country assumes the EU's rotating presidency and Rijeka co-chairs as the European Capital of Culture. The Croatian National Tourist Board has preparations underway to manage the major boost in cultural and political events.
When Croatia takes over the presidency of the European Union, we don't want politicians, committees, and tourists interested in coming to Croatia to gravitate only to Zagreb. We want to disperse various activities to other cities, and one of the major cultural centers will be, in fact, Rijeka.
Taking a quick look at sports, the Croatian men's table tennis team has reached the final 16 of the World Team Championships in Halmstad, Sweden. Croatia registered a massive 3-1 upset win over a previously undefeated South Korea in the final round of play in Group D to reach the quarterfinals. Next up for Croatia is Brazil. The weather forecast for tomorrow calls for partly sunny skies. Unstable weather is expected in northern areas of the continent and the northern Adriatic, including isolated showers and thunderstorms. More intense storms with hail is possible. A moderate northeasterly wind will blow along the northern Adriatic, while the far south will get a strong southeasterly that will lose strength throughout the day. Morning lows of 13 to 18 degrees will give way to highs of 21 to 26 degrees Celsius around the country, and up to 30 in the far east. The weekend forecast for the interior calls for slightly lower temperatures as moderate northeasterly and northerly winds move in. Sunday could see isolated showers and thunderstorms. The Adriatic coast, on the other hand, will be a little more stable over the next few days and increasingly warm to start next week. Rain and thunderstorms are likely over the weekend, especially on Saturday in the north and Sunday in the south. A strong northeasterly wind is expected on Sunday in northern regions. And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow night.